Hey guys, here I am again, Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio up here in full Poindexter mode with my deep sea diving goggles, and obviously a very informal video since I'm not wearing a dress shirt. This is basically I'm in the middle of a job. It's not I'm testing a customer's unit for the final time. But what I am doing here is here's what I'm working on right now. And okay, this is and I'm mainly doing this because this customer is in Hawaii. It's only the second job I've ever received from Hawaii, so it's a pretty special thing. And this comes from George in Honolulu, Hawaii. And this is kind of a return of his favor. He promised me that if I ever came to Hawaii, he would surround me with lonely hula dancers, pineapples, and coconuts. So I'm doing this for him in return. Kind of showing what I'm doing. What we've got here is one of these small aftermarket units. they're they're made to be cheap and compact. They're not really made to be economically serviceable. So at any rate. George has requested the internal conversion to basically get everything working again. And also the Bluetooth feature he wants in there, and I guess that's pretty much it. Oh, and also that cool little master input-output box I offer. So what it's amounted to is I'll see if I can do this. See if I can do this on this camera. Okay, so whenever I receive one of these units, it's basically a complete teardown. I just rip out everything, including all the wiring. All the wiring you see, except for these two little bitty white wires, these are all wires that I've installed. I ripped out everything in this unit, and it's completely reworked. This is the tuner, obviously. This is where I put the new head preamp. The conversion module is going to mount right here somehow, and somehow still have room to bring wires out, with grommets and all that stuff. And then the Bluetooth, I've got a little test fixture that I made. If I don't have an actual Bluetooth module on hand, I've got this little test fixture that I used and the Bluetooth is going to mount right in there. So Bluetooth, main module, preamp, input-output box. I had to redo the antenna to make room to put everything in here. So now what I've done is this is part of the preparation work I do on conversions. Since everything I work on is at least 40 years old. Most of it's closer to 60 years old or even older than that. And so that means my job's quite a challenge at times. So anyway, one of the main things I'm going to point out about these smaller aftermarket units, whenever possible, I like to install a new motor for the 8-track section. The old motor is either going to run a little bit slow, or it's going to generate noise through the audio circuitry. Once in a great while, I get lucky and find an existing good motor, but in most cases, actually in almost all cases, I install a new motor. I'm so adamant about that a new motor is included in the price with an 8-track radio unit. That's how adamant I am. Now, these smaller aftermarket units, my adjustable speed replacement, this is the speed control board for the new motor, which has a speed adjustment, so if it ever slows down, the customer can actually get in there, and tweak the speed a little bit. But now this motor is 3 inches long, and it's not going to fit inside a unit that's less than 2 inches tall. So my new motor sticks out the bottom. This is the same way I repair the radio mobile units found in Rolls-Royce. The Rolls-Royce also uses Voxon, which is also a very thin. That's the same procedure I use to repair a Rolls-Royce unit. The Triumph RX-7 and the Jensen Interceptor, they have the Learjet A250, and it's the same thing I do on that. I cut a hole in the bottom so that the new motor can stick out the bottom a little bit. I always check with the customer first to make sure he's got clearance before I even charge him for the job, because if there's no room for a new motor and his original motor's bad, I really can't do the job. I'm not going to send back a unit that runs slow or has noise through the audio circuitry. You know my standards. You've seen my more than 1,100 videos of finished jobs, so you know my standards for performance out of what comes out of my shop. So what I'm doing mainly right now is just whenever I do this prep work, as I mentioned before, I rip out all the existing wiring, and I go back in and install my own wiring. I get everything ready for the new board, for the conversion board to mount in place, and all the wires are already run to it. So all I got to do is solder them in place. Um, Now I always forget what I'm working up to when I go into these intense discussions. But at any rate, okay, so the unit is pretty well prepped. I've got all the wires from the controls run to where the conversion board's going to go. The motor and speed board, they're already connected and hooked up. The 8-track is working, and that's basically the last step of the preparation process is to have the 8-track player fully functional again. Now, as I mentioned before, everything I work on is at least 40 years old. Most of it's closer to 60, and so that means these units are full of question marks as to what's wrong with them, what needs to be fixed. So um, the first thing I do when a customer unit comes in, even if it's going to be a year before it's ready to go back, if I'm a year backed up and the customer is not purchasing expedited service, then he's going to wait a year or more for his unit to come back. Because of that, most of the reason for that is because I have to do so much preparation work to make sure the unit's going to be okay. And then it's shelved, awaiting the customer's place in line. So, anyway, George's main issue on this 8-track, at least as far as what he mentioned, is that you have to jiggle it around to get it to stay playing. Sometimes it'll play, sometimes it won't. So I wanted to just show George that at least I've got that problem fixed. So let's go ahead and hook this puppy up real quick. Let's see. We're just going to test the 8-track section and make sure that it still works. Okay. And it's all alligator clippy stuff because nothing is complete. It's all still out in the open, and so there's no jacks or anything mounted just yet. So we got to do everything with jumper cables and alligator clips and all that crazy stuff. So, okay, so there's our audio hooked up. Let's get some power hooked up to this thing. I may have to locate, because I took one of my power cords out to the garage last night to test another customer's unit. So, okay, I will be right back. I need to go grab a power cable for this thing. I'm actually working on setting up 4 fully equipped benches. Uh, until then, I'm kind of running from bench to bench to get something that is not yet on a new bench that I'm setting up. Let's get a ground hooked up here and get some power going in this thing. Okay, now with any luck at all, we should get some 8-track sound out of this thing. Let's check it out. I think we're all okay here as far as hookup and all that stuff goes. So let's try this just for fun. Okay, end of a song there. So there we go. I just wanted to show George that I have his 8-track section fixed, and the rest of it comes later. But actually, this job is due on, I believe, January 7th. So I've got quite a bit of time. But the 8-track section is fully functional with a new motor, new preamp. I need to brighten up the sound a bit. That's just an adjustment to my preamp. But I just wanted to show George from Hawaii that I've already got his 8-track. The 8-track section is already fixed. So when I show up in Hawaii, I'll expect to be surrounded by lonely hula dancers and plates of pineapple and coconut or whatever they put the fruits on in Hawaii. So that's all I want to do. This video is going to be called "The Things We Do for Love" because you gotta love this line of work to go to this kind of extreme on an aftermarket. I mean, it's almost like brain surgery, and you get everything all installed. If there's a problem, the problem's probably buried beneath tons of wiring and parts and stuff, and you got to take a bunch of stuff apart and all that stuff. So I'm just being, I'm pretty meticulous as I go because I don't want any problems when the unit's all fixed up and ready to test, before camera. So that's all I wanted to do for today. Thanks, George, for your business all the way from Hawaii. This is only the second job I've ever gotten in Hawaii. I think I've gotten one from Alaska. But so far we got two from Hawaii, so that's pretty cool. Thanks for watching and listening, guys. To reach me for service, please just visit the website in the description below. Download and print a work order. That'll answer at least 90% of your questions, so that when you call me, it's only like a 5-minute conversation instead of a 20-minute conversation. The 20-minute conversations keep me off the bench too long. I gotta get the work done, and that's where it gets done, is on the bench. So please do that research before calling me with a bunch of questions. And thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.